Everyone knows here at Spoiled Agent, and we love Lea-Ann and the entire team from Visit Florida. Lea-Ann, of course. I mean, I gave it away. Nice to see you again, Lea-Ann. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Susan. Good to see you too. And thank you for hosting us. I think everybody knows us because of Spoiled Agent. We do a lot of webinars and newsletters and games with you. So thank you for your support.
Yes, you keep us busy. We love it.
Well, and do the agents know what you're doing there, how magic you are and behind the scenes?
Maybe.
Gosh, you've got what do you have? Two or three screens set up there? Two
Four.
screens? Four. She has four screens. She's managing Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Zoom Live. Let's hear it for Susan.
Yay.
Oh, hello. Oh, we have Bonjour Guy is from Northern Ontario on Facebook. Thank you for that, guys. You know, Kelly taught me almost 4 years ago how all this runs, and we love it. Oh, thanks, Angie. Oh, I love it,
Aw,
love it, love Pickering.
4 years.
Amazing.
Time goes by so quick.
It sure does. It sure does. And I think we're going to get started if you're okay with it. We're live on all of our platforms. We're here again with Lea-Ann, our friend who represents Visit Florida. Lea-Ann, we love that we get to meet with you and you bring some fantastic guests with you. So actually, it's a good point, Tom. On Travel Advisor Monthly, and if you recall, we showed our spoiled agents how to use the reactions and even the three dots with more. So let's see, guys, what we can show our great guests right now. I love that we have this, and this one, Cynthia, is for you with the sun. I love it. So welcome, and Leanne, who do you have with you today?
Oh, thank you so much, Susan. Today I have Cynthia from Visit Central Florida and Tom from Florida Space Coast.
Hello, everyone.
Nice meeting you guys.
And Leanne, I know you always bring a great prize for a lucky spoiled agent that stays on to the question period, right?
That's right. So we ask that you stay on right from start to the end of the question period. And I will do a draw tomorrow, Thursday morning, for a $100 gift card.
Woo! Amazing. So you don't have to necessarily ask a question, but you have to stay on the question period. And on that point, if you guys have any questions for Lea-Ann, Cynthia, or Tom, please add it to the Q&A box. Facebook friends, you can add it in the comments. I'll try to find it as well. And why? Because the chat box, I love that we can leave it for the chitter chatter. We love that part too. It's just easier for us to take those questions from the Q&A box because they stay stacked for us. So. All right, well, the session's being recorded as usual. It's going to be on Leanne's page a little bit later today on Visit Florida. We are live on Facebook over here. We are live on Zoom. We're live on LinkedIn and we're live on YouTube for all of our spoiled agents across Canada. And I'm going to see you guys at the Q&A at the end. Thanks, Leanne and team.
Thanks so much, Susan. And it's my pleasure to hand it over to Cynthia from Visit Central Florida.
Hey guys, how are you? Nice seeing this very interactive webinar. Some of you already know me from my webinars, I hope. I'm just gonna turn off my camera so I can share my screen and start sharing my slides. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
All good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm not gonna move from there. Okay, perfect. So hi everyone again and welcome. First of all, I want to thank you guys for organizing this beautiful webinar and thank you for inviting us. Central Florida is very happy to be here and well, we really appreciate the opportunity connecting with you and share a little bit what Central Florida had to offer. We are also excited to introduce you to some of the communities, experiences, and places that make the destination so special, and will hopefully give you a few new ideas to take away with you. Well, let's start. When we think about Florida, they are certain places and experience that immediately comes to mind. But as a team member representing Central Florida, we also want to share a different perspective, more like the charming communities, the outdoor experience, local food, history and culture that you can discover beyond the familiar attractions that you might know. So today we're going to take a little time to explore that side of Central Florida together. And again, thank you. Let's move on with our first slide. All right, for those of you I haven't had the chance to meet yet, my name is Cynthia Vasquez, and I am part of the team representing Visit Central Florida here in Canada. And my role is to work closely with travel advisors and agencies, and I like helping them to get to know the destination beyond the places that you may already be familiar with. And that's really what we want to focus on today. Rather than simply talking about Central Florida as a destination, we would like to show you some of the communities, some of the experiences, the places that give the region his own character, if that makes sense. All right, so let's start by putting Central Florida on the map. Okay, so here we have the biggest picture, the bigger picture. When we talk about Central Florida, we're talking about a region right in the middle of the state. And what I really want you to notice on this map is the variety. You have Lakeland and Winter Haven, you have Orlando, you have Tampa on the west, and you can reach all of these places like Cocoa Beach, like a Space Coast Center. And you will also notice some of the names that you may already be familiar with, like Walt Disney World, Legoland, Florida, Clearwater Beach, Kennedy Space Center. So Central Florida is connected to many of the experience people already associate with Florida. But right in the middle of all of that, we also have this 17 charming communities, which is basically Central Florida, Port County, and that's really where I wanted to take you in these conversations today. Because the region isn't only about the big attractions marked on the map, there's another layers. There's like, the communities, there's the lakes that, it's a big part of Central Florida that we don't know much about here in Canada, and the outdoor spaces, for example, the food, the history, let's just move into that. Let's start with the communities. One of the things that make Central Florida interesting is that these cities each have their own personality. For example, Lakeland, it's probably like the easiest example to start with. When you think about Lakeland, think about downtown, think about art, think about dining, think about lakes. It's a place where you can spend time downtown. You can also walk around, you can have a meal, and then you can find yourself next to the water, for example. And then there is Winter Haven. Winter Haven is known to be the city of Lakeland, for example, Legoland, sorry. So here in Winter Haven, think about lakes. The lakes really shape the community. You have waterfront experiences, and that feeling of local life being connected to the water, it's really what shapes Winter Haven. On the other hand, we have Lake Wells. Lake Wells give us something a little more different. The focus here is more on nature. Lake Wells focus on garden and history, which we will see a little bit further later when we talk about places like the Botanic Gardens and the Retiro. And then we have a Borndale, which gives you that small town Florida feeling. So when we say small cities, big personality, that is really what we're talking about. There aren't just like cities on the map. There are like communities with their own atmosphere, their own landscape, their own way of experiencing Florida. And that brings us to one of the things that I think it's really important when I think about Central Florida, which is the outdoors. Water is a big part of the region. There are lakes throughout Central Florida, like it's many lakes. And that creates an opportunity for people who love boating, fishing, paddleboarding. But it's also simply changes the landscape around you. Then we have nature, like the garden, the trails, the open landscapes, like Botanic Tower Garden, for example, is a beautiful example of that side of the destinations. Then we have ranch, like who would expect a ranch in the middle of Florida? We had the Westgate River Ranch and Rodeo, which gives you a very different kind of Florida experience. Here you can do horseback riding, rodeo. It's wide open spaces. It gives you opportunity to do lots of activities that the ranch can offer you. And then on the other side, we have the Golden Ridge Grove, which is the citrus part. That's a very important part of Florida. It brings us into Florida agricultural side. For example, the groves, the citrus, and that connections to Florida heritage. So I like this slide because you can almost see 4 different versions of Florida in general, especially Central Florida. You're going to see here the water, you're going to see the nature, the ranch, the citrus, and they all part of the same small 17 communities, all in Central Florida. And we just look at the outdoor side of Central Florida, water, nature, ranch, and citrus, but I wanted to take a closer look of what some of those experiences actually look like. For example, let's start with the Botanic Gardens in El Retiro. Here, the experience is really about the combination of gardens, architectures, history. You're not just simply in the outside and for activities. You are taking your time here. You're walking through beautiful landscaping. You're discovering the story behind the place. Then you have the Westgate River Ranch and Rodeo, which is take you in a different direction. Here, you're looking at a ranch environment, horses, rodeo. It really gives you a very image of what Florida, Central Florida, and especially is from what we typically picture when we think about the states, especially Florida. And then we have the Golden Ridge Grove. This is where we connect with citrus and agriculture, which are such an important part of Florida landscape and heritage. So when we talk about the outdoor experiences in Central Florida, it's really not one type of experience. You can go from garden to beautiful architectural pieces to ranch life to exploring the agricultural, and all in the same region. And that is one of the things that makes exploring Central Florida so interesting. So now let's move into the local side of Central Florida. So here, when we talk about the communities and the outdoors, it's also a lot happening between these towns. For example, Lakeland gives you a chance to explore local shops, architectures, arts, dining. We Canadians, we love exploring the arts, the architectural, the history of a city. And like I said, places like Botanic Tower Garden and Retiro shows you how natural and how nature and history can be part of the experience as well. They are also many different ways to experience Central Florida depending on the time of the year. Throughout the season, you will find different outdoor activities, local events, and things happening in the community. So it is always worth looking at what is taking place when your clients are visiting. And now let's take a look. Let's take a look at one of those elements, which is the local food scene. All right, so let's take a look at a few places that gives a sense of local dining experience in Central Florida. For example, we have Egg Heaven. Egg Heaven, think about Egg Heaven like the casual spot where you stop for a morning breakfast, where it just gives you that local breakfast experience. Then there is 1961, which is, right in Lakeland. This is completely different. The settings here, it's fancy. You experience the city through food, it's fancy dishes. And then we have Savoie. Savoie, first of all, they have an exquisite menu when it comes to wine, which brings you to another atmosphere and style of dining in Central Florida. And I think having these different options, it's interesting because they can fit very different types of travelers and different moments of a trip. So whether it's casual breakfast, meal, we're exploring downtown, or a more relaxed dining, there's room to make food part of the itinerary in different ways. And for Canadian travelers, that it's especially relevant because food, it's art and culture can be, like a very exciting part of a trip. And kind of connecting with the locals, with their food, it makes the trip feel a bit more personal, that the kind of experience they actually were looking for. Now let's talk a little bit about what where you can stay. Just here. One of the nicest things about Central Florida is that you have quite a bit of variety when it comes to accommodations. Some travelers choose to make Central Florida their base and explore from there. Geographically, if you really think about it, you are well positioned to reach many of the attractions and different areas of from Central Florida to the rest, while also having the opportunity to experience, the area, which is Central Florida, at the same time. And for some travelers, it can also be an attractive option from an affordability perspective, especially when compared with staying closer to some of the more well-known tourist area. So for clients who want to explore different parts of Central Florida without necessarily staying right in the middle of the busiest tourist area, well, staying in Central Florida makes, itself can make a lot of sense. So we have covered quite a bit in a short amount of time, and I really appreciate that. We started with the communities, then we looked at the outdoor, some of the local food, and a few of the places that you can experience along the way. And I think that what makes Central Florida interesting. There's a lot of variety between a relatively small area. You can have a morning outdoors, spend some time exploring the community, stop for lunch somewhere local, and just continue your trip, And I think for us here in Canada, that is an interesting way of looking at Florida. We are used to travelers looking for experiences that feel a little bit more personal, not just checking some place out of the list, but having time, to explore, discover, enjoy a place at our own pace. And well, Central Florida will give you that, and there's a lot of room to do that. And well, that's all. I'll leave you with this today, and well, thank you again for giving this opportunity, and for allowing me to share a little bit of Central Florida with you. And I hope you enjoy it. And passing to Susan.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. I'm going to jump in here as we're switching over to Tom to bring up his presentation for Space Coast Florida. And Cynthia, if you can come back on just your mic or your video as well. I just want to chat a little bit about beyond the known and this different side of Florida. And this is going to the agents out there. I'm really curious because when you were speaking and presenting, Cynthia, I noted Shelley, you had commented that you've been to the Lakeland area. I'm really curious for the other agents listening in today. Has anybody else experienced those areas or any of the attractions that Cynthia mentioned? Either pop us a note in the chat or give us a reaction to let us know, because I think it's one of those things that we need this learning experience, this education, right? To bring this to our knowledge, say, oh my gosh, Arlene commented, wow, there's a rodeo, right? The Westgate Ranch and Rodeo. So Cynthia, again, thank you for bringing this presentation to us. And I know that you put your contact information on the screen, and Susan has included it as well. I will include your contact information and Tom's in my follow-up email that I send out on Friday as well. Great. Thanks again. And we'll pass it over to Tom. Reminder though, if you do have any questions, please type them in the Q&A box, and we'll bring both Tom and Cynthia back on screen at the end of the presentation to review the questions. So Tom, we're now passing it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Lea-Ann, and thank you, Susan, and each of you travel agents that have tuned in today. We really appreciate it. Again, my name is Tom Bartosek, and I'm the Travel Trade Industry Coordinator for the Space Coast Office of Tourism. I was born and raised here in Brevard County on the Space Coast. I've lived here my whole life. I've been with our office for 36 years. So you probably don't have any question that I can't answer. I'm happy to work with you on to get what your clients want to do when they're coming down to the area. We'll go ahead and start my presentation, I hope. There we go. Just so you know where we are, Cynthia also started off with kind of the location. And some people may not be familiar with the Space Coast, but we're just east of Orlando, just 1 hour. You could land at MCO and hop in a rental car and be sitting on the beach in about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So it's this area over here. It's Brevard County is the Space Coast. Brevard is one of 67 counties in Florida, and we're central and east of Orlando. So the main cities are Titusville, which is at the north part of our county, and then Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral is over here with all the launch activities. And then we've got the port at Port Canaveral, Cocoa and Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, Palm Bay, down here on the mainland, and then our beaches. Our area is 72 miles from the north to the south. So it's a big county. It's probably only about 25 miles wide at the north or at the south end down here at Palm Bay. But there's lots of different communities in the area and lots of different things to see and do. I'm just going to kind of scratch the surface in my presentation today. I mentioned MCO, and I'm sure a lot of your clients and you folks, when you're coming down, you're landing at MCO. But check out MLB. It's Melbourne Orlando International Airport. It's right in our destination. It's right in the south part of our county. You don't have to deal with the big lines at TSA over there. MLB is really easy. It's a small airport. It's served by Delta, American, and Allegiant. So just kind of put that in the back of your mind and think about it the next time you're booking clients down to Florida to check out MLB. It's a great little airport. The three main pillars of our tourism product here on the Space Coast, of course, are space, because we're the home of the Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Cruise, because we're the home of Port Canaveral. And nature, because we've just got so many outdoor and nature and beach activities for your clients to come down and experience. We'll start with space since we are the Space Coast. Last year, did you know we had 109 rocket launches? 109, it was a record. We've had 52 so far this year. I don't think we're going to break another record on that, but we've got launches going all the time. It's a bucket list experience for a lot of people. So there's an easy way to keep track of it. I'll tell you about that in a minute. I'm sure you all were tuned in to the Artemis 2 mission that was back in April. It was the first mission that took astronauts back around the moon. They didn't land on the moon, in case you didn't know it, but they went farther than any astronauts had gone before. They went beyond the moon in their orbit. So Artemis 3 is the one that's going to land on the moon, and that's supposed to happen by the end of next year, by the end of 2027. So stay tuned for that. An easy way to keep track of our launches, since we have so many, is an app. Our office came up with a smartphone app. It's called Space Coast Launches. It's available on the Apple App Store and on Google Play. It will, when you download that, it'll give you the launch schedule, the next few launches that are going up, the day and the time. There's you can watch it from your phone. So if you're home in Canada and you want to watch a launch, you can pull your phone out and just watch a rocket launch right from your phone live. There's a compass feature on there. So when you are on the Space Coast, you can use the app to look at the right launch pad. If you're in downtown Titusville and looking across the river to Kennedy Space Center, there's several launch gantries, and you may not know which one today's launch is going to go from, but the compass feature will help you to be looking in the right direction so you don't miss the rocket. The Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex is our largest attraction. It's NASA's attraction. It's open every day except for Christmas and Thanksgiving, I believe. But it is open every day. It's $77 for adults is the regular admission and $67 for children. The picture you're looking at here is Gateway. It's the newest attraction at the Kennedy Space Center. And it's the Gateway. Gateway is the space complex of the future. So it's like the future of the space program. There's a a Falcon 9 rocket that's suspended here. There's an Orion spacecraft. There's rides. They don't like to call them rides, but there's experiences where you can go to Mars and see distant planets. It's a very cool part of the visitor complex. Good news for you international travel agents is that if you complete a form that I can send to you, and you show up at the will call window at the visitor complex, don't have to do anything ahead of time. Just show up there with this completed form with your IATA or your CLIA card and a valid photo ID, and you'll get photo ID, excuse me. You'll get a complimentary admission ticket. The form can only be submitted in person at the will call and can't be done in advance, but that's okay. It's really simple to do. If you find yourself here and you didn't do the form ahead of time, that's okay. You can still get a 50% off the regular admission price for yourself and 5 guests just by showing up at the will call window with your IATA or CLIA card and your photo ID. And there's the regular admission again for you, $77 for adults and $67 for kids. My best advice when you're sending your clients there is to have them arrive right at opening time. They open at 9 a.m. They stay up till 6 p.m. When you're some of the first ones through the turnstiles, it's a much easier experience. It's not real busy. You don't have to stand in a line to get on the first bus tour. It gets a lot more crowded throughout the day. So when you're some of the first ones there, it's a more pleasant experience. The photo that you see here is Space Shuttle Atlantis. It's my favorite attraction at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. That's a real space shuttle. It flew 33 missions, 77 million miles, I believe, in space. You can get really close to it. There's a great reveal. I don't want to ruin it for anybody if you haven't seen it yet, but it's a great presentation. The space dust is still on it. I mean, they barely cleaned it up. They took all the fuel and everything and all the dangerous things out of it, but it's as it flew in space. The only space shuttle on display as if it were in space. And you can see this little arm right here. Well, it's not little, but this arm here is the Canada arm. And there's one over here on the other side of the payload bay. Those were built by Canada and given to NASA to install on the space shuttles, and they were a big help. They use them to take sometimes they'll move astronauts around on them, but usually it's a satellite they'll take out of the bay to place into orbit. But those are the Canada arms. That was your contribution to building the International Space Station, which was awesome. On the bus tour, the main stop is the Apollo Saturn V Center, and that's all about the moon missions, taking America to the moon, like John Kennedy said we were going to do back in 1963, before the end of the decade, and we did it. So this is the rocket. You get to come out and walk under the rocket. There's displays on each of the Apollo missions. There's a moon rock there, so when your clients come, they can actually touch a piece of the moon. There's an astronaut at the visitor complex every day, so you can meet an astronaut. They do a chat with an astronaut. It's an upcharge, but you get to have a little bite to eat and a drink and listen to the astronaut's presentation. You can ask questions and you get a photo with an astronaut, a little memento at the end. So it's a nice add-on if you have people that are really into space. And if you have clients that are really into it or their kids are really into it, please look at the 2-day ticket. It's not that much more than a 1-day ticket, and you just can't see it all in one day. There's so many parts of the Kennedy Space Center that you just can't do it all in one day. So if you have clients that are really into it, I would recommend looking at the 2-day ticket. Besides the visitor complex over in downtown Titusville, we have a great little museum. It's called the American Space Museum. It's in downtown Titusville. The picture you see here is a young man that's in the Delta launch control room. So they have space equipment and items and memorabilia that were from the original astronauts. The Mercury astronauts and their agent and their family, excuse me, started this museum. So there's unique items out here that you won't see at the main visitor complex. They have one room that's dedicated to all the women who have flown in space. They have the button that they pushed for John Glenn's first launch. And they have space suits and parts of the space shuttle, and they do a lot of STEM activities for kids. It's just a great museum. The people that the nonprofit that started the Space Museum also have an outdoor monument called the U.S. Space Walk of Fame. It's right along the Indian River. It's a great spot to watch launches from. But somebody in that organization was real smart when they were starting, because they went around to the original astronauts and they got them to put their hands in plaster. And then they used those plaster handprints and made bronze plaques out of them. So you can see the young man there, he's putting his hands in the handprints. You can put your hands in the handprints of the first American in space and the first man on the moon and a lot of other astronauts. It's a cool experience. It literally puts you in touch with the space program. There's lots of museums around our county. In addition to the two that I've just talked about, we have a little quirky one in Cocoa Beach, the Wizard of Oz Museum. It's one man's personal collection, so it's got all different types of memorabilia from the movie and all of the books of the museum. There's a immersive experience as well. It's one big kind of empty room until they turn on the projectors. You've probably seen those immersive experiences before. So they have two there. One is the Wizard of Oz immersive experience, and the other one is the Van Gogh, the artist. So you're in the room with, and you're kind of in the middle of all the Van Gogh paintings. It's a pretty neat experience. Our other big attraction, our other gated attraction is Brevard Zoo. It's located in the town of Viera in the south part of our county. It has over 900 animals from Latin America, native Florida, Africa, and Australia. It's the only zoo in America where you get to kayak past the animal exhibits. A lot of people like that. It's an upcharge, but it's a lot of fun to be able to hop in a kayak and kayak past the giraffe exhibits and see the zebras and trying to think of the other ones. I can't think of the other animals right now, but anyway, it's a great little exhibit, a great way to see the zoo. We also have the Valiant Air Command Warbird Museum in Titusville. If you have any aircraft or military clients, they'd love to see this. They have aircraft dating back to World War I. A lot of military memorabilia there on display. They do a big air show every other March. It's located right outside the gates of the Kennedy Space Center. Down in Cocoa Beach, we have the Dinosaur Store and Antiquities Museum. So there's dinosaurs. Again, this is a local man's personal collection of dinosaur fossils, and they have animatronic ones there. They have a recreation of King Tut's tomb, the terracotta soldiers. They have a hands-on area for kids where they can actually handle a baby alligator. It's a neat little museum. It's a fun thing to do on a rainy day, that's for sure. And then let's move on to cruise and Port Canaveral. This is their latest graphic. They say 30 home ported ships, but that is cumulative through 2027, through next year. LNG is the new power that's coming on for most cruise lines. I think all the cruise lines are trying to go to LNG, and we have 8 of them out of Port Canaveral. You can go to 50 different destinations from our port on 2 to 14-day itineraries. And you might not know, but we have over 100 port calls every year. These are ships and cruises that start in New York or New Jersey or somewhere in the Northeast, and we're their first stop on their way to the Caribbean. Port Canaveral is currently home to 18 ships across 7 leading cruise lines, and they had over 1,000 sailings last year. So we have Carnival, we have Disney, we have Royal Caribbean, MSC, Norwegian, Princess, and Celebrity. So you really got a wide choice of brands and itineraries to sail from Port Canaveral. Here's an aerial of the port. So the north side, this is looking north here. This is CT5. This is CT6. Cruise Terminal 8 was purpose-built for Disney, so only Disney ships use that terminal. CT10 is also on the north side. Then around on the south side of the port, this is the more public access part of Port Canaveral, is CT1. That was purpose-built for Royal Caribbean, and CT3, which was purpose-built for Carnival. So those, when I say purpose-built, that means that those companies have first right of refusal. So more often than not, you're going to see a Carnival ship at CT3 and a Royal ship at CT1, but sometimes there's other cruise lines in there. The Cove area here is our kind of restaurant row, I call it, of the port. There's lots of great restaurants here. Your clients can have a bite to eat and watch the ships leave through the ship channel. In 2025, our port was named the busiest cruise passenger port in the world. We bypassed Miami because we had 8.6 million revenue passenger movements. So there's a lot of folks moving through Port Canaveral. Because of that fact, I would encourage you to start relationships with our hoteliers. You don't want your clients staying in a hotel in Orlando and trying to get to their cruise ship the next morning and have a crash on 528, not them crash, excuse me, have an accident or a delay on 528 and they miss the ship. So it's a good idea to house your clients at least the first night or the night before their cruise in our area. Did you know, in addition to all the multi-day cruise passengers, we also have a casino ship, a gaming ship that goes out from here. It's Victory Casino Cruises. Sails twice a day. It's not expensive. It's kind of like a cruise to nowhere. It just goes out into international waters and they turn on the casino for a few hours. There's entertainment on board. There's dining. And one of the best things I think about it is they have a fleet of buses and they actually come out and pick up your clients at their local hotel and bring them to the port, and they bring them back after the cruise so they don't have to worry about driving back and forth. Makes it really easy. Now to move on to some of our beaches and our nature activities. This is a shot of Playa Linda Beach, which is part of the Canaveral National Seashore. It's at the very northern end of our county. It runs for 21 miles from Brevard County north up into Volusia County. And it's the last undeveloped stretch of beach on the whole east coast of the state. There's no hotels, there's no restaurants, there's just no buildings. There's a glorified portage-on in the parking lot and a dune crossover, and that's it. It's a beautiful beach area. If your clients want a beach to themselves, this is the place to send them. Down in south of Port Canaveral, from the port all the way south, about 42 miles down to the end of our county, is all public beaches: Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach, Indialantic, and Melbourne Beach. All those beach cities have beach parks. We have year-round lifeguards at 8 of those parks. And then during the summer, seasonal time, we have an additional 6 lifeguard towers, and those are manned from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. Always good to swim at a lifeguarded beach. This is a shot of Sebastian Inlet looking to the north. Sebastian Inlet is a state park. It's probably the most popular state park in Florida, and that's because it's a great fishing and surfing destination. Surfing is really big here. We have companies that we have big surf shops, and we have companies that will teach your clients how to surf. They can learn to surf on vacation. They take a surf lesson. They do ocean safety, like in a classroom setting, for an hour or so. Then they get you out onto the beach, get you standing up on a board. They teach you how to pop up, to actually ride. Then they get you out on the water. Most people are up surfing in an hour, 90 minutes, and it's just a lot of fun. It could become a lifetime hobby for a lot of folks. So think about that as an activity when your clients are in the area. Back to another little museum. We have the Florida Surf Museum is located inside Ron John Surf Shop. It's small, it's free, but it's very cool. It's all memorabilia about the history of surfing and surfing in Florida and the whole East Coast in particular. This gentleman right here with the lei that you can see in this picture is Kelly Slater. Any of you that follow surfing will recognize his name. He was born and raised in Cocoa Beach and became the greatest professional surfer of all time. He's won the world champion title 11 times. He was the youngest world champ. He was the oldest world champ. He was on Baywatch for a while. He dated Pamela Anderson. I mean, he's the man when it comes to surfing and Cocoa Beach. The city actually put a big bronze statue of him up in right in the middle of A1A so people get out there and take their picture with it. Nature is a big draw for our area. The boundaries of the Kennedy Space Center are the same boundaries as the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, about 220 square miles. There's 300 species of birds that they count out there each year. There's alligators, there's manatee, there's dolphin in the water, there's bobcats and deer. There's more threatened and endangered species on Merritt Island than all other Florida refuges combined. On the western border of our county is the St. Johns River. It's a freshwater river that actually runs to the north. There's not many rivers in the world that flow north, but St. Johns does. You can take an airboat ride to see alligators in the wild and lots of different species of birds. You don't have to go all the way down to the Everglades. You can take an airboat ride right here. It's a lot of fun. There's plenty of alligators out there that you'll see on the airboat ride, and it's very safe. Nobody has to worry about getting bit or anything like that. It's a very safe experience. On the Indian and Banana Rivers, our saltwater rivers closer to the ocean, you could go on a nature tour boat to see dolphins up close and manatees. It's a lot of fun. A lot of these tour boat companies, they all have they're covered, so it's a more pleasant experience. They've got a restroom on board. A lot of people also like to kayak. Kayaking is real big in our area with so many waterways. It's a good way to get out and see the manatees and dolphins up close. In the summertime, we have bioluminescence in our water. So there's little one-cell organisms that light up when they're agitated. When your kayak paddle goes through or a fish swims by, they light up blue. It's like a fireworks show under the water. Happens in the summertime, and we've got a lot of companies and outfitters that'll take your clients out to see it. Another summertime nature activity is a sea turtle walk. Your client can go on a sea turtle walk. It happens June through August, and you meet at a local park. The guide will tell you about the different species of turtles, and you walk the beach till you find the nesting female. Everybody watches her lay her eggs. She covers the nest up and lumbers back into the ocean. Everybody bonds with the mother turtle. It's just a great experience. Now I want to tell you a little bit about our hotel products. I mentioned it before that I'd like for you to start relationships with them just to get your clients here so they don't miss their cruise ship. But so you know, we've had 23 or 24 brand new build hotels since 2020 in our county. So we got a lot of new product. One of the newest is the Courtyard by Marriott. It's located right outside the gates of the Kennedy Space Center. It was built and operated by the same company that manages the Space Center for NASA. It has a space bar, a rooftop bar, so you can watch rocket launches from there. Excuse me. Each room has a star projector, so when the kids go to sleep at night, they're sleeping under the stars. Each room also comes with a pair of binoculars, so you can see manatees and the river and the launch pads in the distance. As I said, it was built by the same company that operates the visitor complex, and there's an astronaut there every day. So they house those astronauts at the courtyard. When they check in, they give them a Sharpie and ask them to write an inspirational message on the wall of the hotel room. So your clients, when they stay there, they might be sleeping in the same bed as an astronaut. Pretty cool experience. Doesn't happen. I don't know any other place that can happen. The newest hotel is a Hilton Garden Inn in the city of Cape Canaveral. It's about a quarter mile south of Port Canaveral. Brand new, 150 rooms, a lot of great artwork throughout the hotel. It's got a wonderful restaurant, Jay Bird's Italian Eatery. There's a tiki bar, swimming pool, playground area for the kids, all covered. Just a really, really nice property and very accessible to Port Canaveral. We've got lots of great shopping areas, great little downtown Titusville, downtown Cocoa and Melbourne and O'Galley Arts District all offer great shopping. About 20 minutes west of Port Canaveral is Cocoa Village. There's tree-lined streets, brick paved sidewalks, and no change. You won't find TJ Maxx or Macy's or anything down in Cocoa Village. They're all individually owned, family owned, shopping and restaurants. There's breweries, pubs. It's a great experience. And there's a local company that does a tour. They do a food tour in Cocoa Village. So you go around to 4 or 5 different restaurants, sample the food at each one. The chef comes out and talk to you. And as you're walking between the restaurants, you get a little history lesson of the area from the guide. Speaking of restaurants, seafood is definitely king here in all of our restaurants, or most of our restaurants. Because we're the home of Port Canaveral and Sebastian Inlet, we've got fresh fish coming in every day. One of the favorites up in the Titusville area is Dixie Crossroads. Every family, every group that comes in to sit down, you get a little bowl of corn fritters. They're addictive. It's kind of like a dessert, but you can start your meal with them. Their main dish there is rock shrimp. It's the shrimp that tastes like lobster. When you go there, you gotta try it. It's just great. I love rock shrimp. Down in Port Canaveral, I told you about Restaurant Row. Fish Lips is right in the middle of the cove area of the port. So it's right on the ship channel. You can have a bite to eat or a drink and watch the ships go by. They've also got a lot of great seafood entrees there. Down in Cocoa Beach, in downtown Cocoa Beach, a fairly new place. I think they've only been open about 6 months, is Dirty Bird's Tiki Bar. They've got island and Floridian inspired foods. Outdoor areas with bands. They have bands most nights and great drinks. It's a fun spot in downtown Cocoa Beach. Our office doesn't have a travel agent academy or university or anything like that, but we do have a travel professional page on our website. And there you'll find links to all of our hotel, all the directors of sales that I told you about, the commissions that they pay. There's an image library, so you can use our images in your own social media, information on local transportations and restaurants, and just about everything you should need as a travel professional. We are on all the social media channels, so you can follow us. Our main website is visitspacecoast.com, where you'll find the travel professional page and the blogs and everything to know about what to see and do in the area. All the hotels are on there. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of the social media channels. We had a character, a spaceman, on TikTok for a while. If you ever saw that, that was great. When you're in the area, if you're coming down or you're sending your clients down and they're posting on social media, please have them do hashtag Space Coast. That way our staff will see it and repost it and keep the story going for everyone. To wrap up, I always say that Florida has over 850 miles of public beaches, but the Space Coast is the only beaches that double as launch pads. So I want to thank you for your time today. My email is there, and I think Lea-Ann said she'd share it again. If there's anything I can help you with, you can give me a call or an email, and I'll be happy to help you and your clients. I am your Space Coast contact, so please help take advantage of it and give me a call.
Thank you, Tom. And I'll just ask you to stay on screen with me for a
Oh,
couple
sure.
of minutes. And you're definitely our Space Coast expert, because even myself, we went from, wow, the busiest cruise port in the world, to bucket list of space experiences, right, in the museums, to just like Central Florida, beyond the known. I'm sure there's many, many things that have popped up for the agents and they were taking notes on. Just one that popped to my mind was the Wizard of Oz Museum. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot there that we didn't know about. So thank you for that in-depth presentation. And again, I want to throw it out to the agents listening in today, because as we're presenting, I'm jotting down notes and I'm seeing some of the comments come across just to make sure that we're presenting information that's relevant to you and to your clients. So we do appreciate those comments. Tom, I had seen there was Deborah, Kaylee, Arlene, Vicky, Brittany, all commenting, you know, oh, that's a bucket list, or I have clients, or I've been there. So how many agents listening in, just give us a thumbs up, how many of you have visited the Space Coast beyond just before a cruise? Because many people may have said, you know, I've gone there, I've stayed there, but it was just before a cruise. So we have a few people that have stayed, you know, longer than that one night, because that is definitely something that we want to promote. As you said, Tom, they need to get in before the cruise, not just flying and running down the gangway, right? Trying to get onto the cruise ship, but it's so important to staying in advance. And thanks, Deborah. She's saying she hasn't, but she certainly will. And Tom, I'm going to keep you on the screen. And Cynthia, I'm just going to ask you to come back with us as well. I want to wrap up by sharing a few agent resources. And in doing so, let me just scroll to my next slide here. Every time I present, I always talk about our specialist program, the Florida Specialist Program, because that really gives agents that base of knowledge for the state of Florida. Cynthia dove into Central Florida, areas that we wouldn't even think of. Did we know that there's a ranch, there's citrus groves, there's beautiful gardens and lakes to go visit? And then, as we just said, Tom, taking it beyond. And I think one of the best ways, so there's learning, there's the webinars. And if any of you are like me, taking copious notes as you're watching the webinar, I'm sure that you're going to go back and view it again. The webinar will be posted on Spoiled Agent, and it'll also be on Facebook, so you can go back and take notes. I think being in destination, right, Cynthia and Tom, isn't it, once you're there and you actually experience it, you're both talking about the food, the fabulous food, the hotels, the attractions, the weather. That's one thing we didn't bring up either, right? The sunny, beautiful weather. And I also think, and I know there's some agents on the webinar with us that have experienced the destination, is the hospitality, is that genuine Southern welcoming hospitality. So on behalf of Tom and Cynthia with Florida Space Coast and Central Florida, I'm so excited to announce that we are going to visit you. We are offering a FAM from October 25th to 29th, and it will visit Central Florida, so Polk County, as Cynthia referred to, and Space Coast, Florida. Oh, I love all the reactions. Thank you so much. We were just as excited to share this with you. Now, if you're already a Florida specialist, you will receive an invitation to apply from me this afternoon. So that is going out to all current Florida specialists. But not to worry, if you're interested in the FAM and you haven't yet completed the program, you can complete the program before August 31st, and I'll make sure that you receive an invitation. Just a reminder, if you need to complete the program, you'll go to visitfloridatravelpro.com. The program was relaunched last July 2025, so it's a new database. You need to make sure that you are a specialist as of July 1st, 2025. So if you don't get an email from me this afternoon, you know you need to refresh and redo the program. It is just 4 modules to complete: the essentials, the beaches, Sunshine State cities, what to see and do. Each module, 8 to 10 minutes. So it'll take you under 40 minutes to complete the entire program, but you don't have to do it all at once either. It tracks your progress. So you can do one module at a time or a portion of a module, and it will track your progress. Our highlights. Now, I won't list everything because we are going to experience a lot in our 4 days together. We'll start on October 25th We're experiencing Porter Airlines, and we will fly into the Orlando International Airport. We're going to stay 2 nights at the Staybridge Suites in Winter Haven. We will have a tour of the Bach Tower Gardens. We'll have an afternoon at the Westgate River Ranch Resort. And we're also going to experience the Golden Ridge Groves. Even more, but we're just going to keep that for now. So when I do send out the invitation, you'll see a little more detail for each destination that we're visiting. So from Central Florida, we'll take our transfer down to Space Coast, Florida. We will stay 2 nights at the Hilton Garden Inn, Cape Canaveral. We will visit the American Space Museum and Walk of Fame. Also spend lots of time at the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex. We will visit the Wizard of Oz Museum. We'll experience a dolphin and wildlife cruise, among a few other attractions. And we will leave then the morning of October 29th. We'll depart for the Orlando International Airport, and we will head back to Canada on Porter Airlines. So, in summary, our fam, we have space for 8 travel agent guests from across Canada. Visit Florida and our partners. We provide round trip airfare, all ground transportation while we're in destination. You will have single occupancy accommodations. All activities, attractions, and most meals will be included. Very few meals will be out of pocket. And right now I'm thinking that would be more at the airports. And as I mentioned, you'll experience that warm hospitality, educational and fun experiences. I know that there's a couple of agents joining us today that have been on previous FAMs, and I'm sure that they can vouch that they're excellent experiences to be able to take that firsthand knowledge and confidently promote and sell to your clients, to say, I've been there. I know your family is going to love this. There's no better way to learn and experience. So before we open it back up to any questions or comments, Tom and Cynthia, do you have anything else that you'd like to add about our exciting FAM coming up?
I would just say that I'm really looking forward to it.
I would just say that I would encourage you guys to download the app, the Central Florida app, so you guys can kind of absorb a little bit more of the places that we're going to visit. And yeah, it's all there. So you guys just download the app. It's called Visit Central Florida. And yeah, just get as much information there. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we're going to invite Susan back. Susan, did we have any questions that we should go through together?
So when can I become a spoiled agent and do the specialist program? That's what
Get
I
the
want to
program
know.
done. The invitation's on your way. Can you do all the webinars from destination?
Sure. I love it. Oh, wow. So can I just say I'm in awe. I think our spoiled agents are in awe. I love, Lea-Ann, that you always tell our spoiled agents everything first. Thank you for being such a great partner. This is amazing news. And you guys, you have to be a specialist. Like if you're not, today's the day to do it. Because this is how you hear about these amazing opportunities. Wowza. I mean, wowza. All right. My goodness. We're taking it back here. This is so exciting. Celine's asking, I believe it's for Tom. How early do we book the tickets? And are there senior rates for Canadians?
There are, as far as I know, there are not senior rates even for US. So there's no senior rates for Canadians, unfortunately.
Okay.
You can book the tickets ahead of time online. If you're booking for your client, you can definitely buy them online or when they arrive. If you're talking about the comp ticket, you need to do that with that form. And then if you want this, the 50% discount, it's just whatever day you choose to go. It's right at the will call window, which is right to the right as you're walking up to the attraction of the entrance turnstiles. You won't miss the will call window.
And Tom, do you guys have any promotions for at par for Canadians here and there?
Promotions for,
Like to buy it at par if they're going to go down?
I'm not sure what on par means. I'm sorry.
Okay, so like equivalent for the Canadian dollar to the US dollar.
Oh, not that I'm aware of, unfortunately.
Okay, no
Sorry.
worries. No worries. Everyone wants a deal.
Of course, of course.
Shelley says, how do you find the Brightline service to the port?
Unfortunately, I can tell you that Brightline does not reach the port. It doesn't even stop in our county yet. It goes from Orlando International Airport. The first stop is West Palm as you're going south. So it goes through the Space Coast, but it doesn't stop here yet. We just got word that the city of Cocoa and Brightline were awarded a federal grant. So there will be a station in Cocoa, and it's supposed to break ground at the end, or excuse me, sometime in 2027. And I think it'll be built by 29 or 30. So once that station opens, you can stop there on the Bright Line, but then you'll have to take an Uber or some other ground transportation the other 2 miles, 3 miles over to the port.
Okay, fair enough. Um, so Joanne's asking Lea-Ann for the FAM, the Fort Porter flight, which city does it leave from?
Well, once we receive all the applications, they go to Visit Florida head office, they review, and then we will take it from there depending on where you're located.
Okay, fair. That's great. And Porter's a great airline. I think we all know here, and us Canadians are awesome partners for sure. So Diane, I believe, is in the US. So this is a Canada webinar right now. So if there's anything coming up for US agents, we'll make sure we keep you posted that, right, Lea-Ann?
Correct.
Excellent. And Joanne's, but what is the price for the FAM?
Oh, good question, Joanne. For our Canadian FAMs, there is no price. We cover everything for our participants. The only things that travel agents are responsible for covering would be gratuities and possibly a few meals here and there, probably at the airports. If you need an extra meal and you're at the airport before or after, then that's what you would need to cover yourself.
My goodness, it gets better and better. Holy, our Canadian travel agents are just so excited. This is fantastic news. I love it.
Well, it's a pleasure for us to host travel agents, Canadian travel agents in destination. As I mentioned, I think it's so important to experience the destination and everything that the partners have to offer. It really, really makes a big difference.
I totally agree. And having, of course, a tourist board host it is the ideal scenario, guys. You guys get all the inside information. You hit all the hot spots that, maybe others wouldn't know about, right? You're going with the best of the best for sure. I love it. All right. Well, I think we are good here. Like, wow. Wow, Lea-Ann, you always drop quite the little sound bite for our spoiled agents. Oh, Deborah, did you see what she wrote? It sure does get better and better. Florida's a new winter vacation for farmers on my side of Canada. Aw.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear.
Great.
Thank you so much, Deborah. We appreciate everyone's comments during the webinar, your reactions, the comments that I receive afterwards. Our partnership, I really think it is a partnership with all the travel agents in Canada, is so very important to us. And this is the least that we can do to give back and encourage those bookings to Florida.
I agree. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, everybody. And don't forget, like, I don't know if it gets any more better, but someone's going to win $100 gift card today as well, Lea-Ann, right?
Right. Forgot about that. But yes, I'll do a draw tomorrow morning for the $100 gift card. So please watch your emails. I will contact the winner by email. I will follow up with an email, contact information, a little bit of extra information about the webinar today. But also, for those of you that are the Florida specialists, watch for your invitation this afternoon. So it is an application that you need to fill in through Google Docs. And then if you haven't become a specialist just yet, please do it before the 31st of August, and I'll ensure that you receive an invitation as well. And just to let you know, with the specialist program, as soon as you receive your certificate, you've completed the 4 modules, you automatically are added to our database. So I will get a notice that you've completed the program and to send you that invitation.
Wow. And don't forget, I think it's also important that they can go to your page, Lea-Ann, on
Yes.
spoiledagent.com, go down to tourist boards and click on Visit Florida. The specialist link is there, agent rates, how to reach Lea-Ann. There's so much great information there, so don't miss out. It's like one stop for you all for sure.
Thank you for the reminder. And Susan, thank you for being such a wonderful hostess. And Cynthia and Tom, thank you for being our fabulous partners. We're so excited to come down to destination and spend a couple days with you. So thank you so much. Keep your eyes open for emails, and we'll do more webinars leading up to the FAM as well. So if for some reason you're not able to join us on the FAM, there'll be more information coming to help you with your promotions and sales for the areas.
Fantastic. Again, Tom, Cynthia, Lea-Ann, amazing. Spoil Agents Canada, thanks for everything. Have a great day.